Morning guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm out in nature and it's an absolutely glorious day. We've come through to the early days of September, and this week here in the UK we're going to have like a mini heat wave of about 30 degrees for the whole week, which is nice, makes a nice change from what we've actually had. Horrible rain, cold, miserable weather. So anyway, what I did was bring the camera out with me today, and I set up this Olympus dot sight first thing this morning. And what I did, soon as I got out the car, set the tripod up, set the camera up onto the tripod, put the dot sight onto the top of the camera and set it up the best I could, and the whole process took about 6 minutes. So as soon as I come into the reserve and I see something that's moving, try and take a photograph of it. It's already moved out, and this dot sight cost about £90, and I'm saying to myself this morning, is it worth it? Is it worth keeping this? Now I've had it a month, I've had it out quite a few times. In the odd occasion it's been successful, but it jumps out all the time. As soon as I think it's when you turn it off that it resets itself. And what is the point of going out for 5 or 6 hours where you're doing photography and keeping it on all the time? It's just draining the battery. So I've got till tomorrow, the 6th of September, to decide whether I want to keep this thing. And the jury's really out, but 75% says hand it back in, because I don't think it's actually worth it. Not for that type of money anyway. Maybe next year when we've got the swallows back and the hobbies, I'll buy a cheaper one, see if I can get used to that, or see if it even works better, and then go back onto the Olympus again, because the Olympus I think is one of the best that you can get on the market. And the features that's on it, I'm not knocking the features or anything. All the features that you need is actually there, and you've got all the controls to be able to set it as well. And it's just, I think it's the ergonomics with the thing is when you've set it onto the camera, and say that you want to change lenses as well, you've got to reset it again. And if you're out in the field and you're photographing quick moving subjects that might only be there for a brief moment, but you need to change the lens, that you might not be able to capture it completely. Say that you've got an 800 lens on, I mean that's like looking down a thin pipe. So on that scenario you've got to go on to the 600, and especially if it's pretty close, it's not bad, you'll get more light and everything in, you'll get a better picture than the 800. But then it's just a matter of resetting this dot sight again. Anyway, we'll see about that one. The other thing is that I wanted to talk about today. This is not going to be a big day for photography, by the way. It's a very quiet day, even though there's wildlife about. I don't think I'm going to get much photography done. But what happened yesterday, a friend of mine turned around and said, "It looks like you're really enjoying your photography at the moment." I said, "Absolutely loving it." I said, "I'm thinking of producing a calendar this week." Got the same scenario where Amazon promised to be able to deliver on a certain date, which was last week, and I'm still waiting. Now they've told me that it's only going to get delivered Wednesday or Thursday, but that's over a week. I mean, I've got Prime, they promised me next day delivery, and I'm still waiting for the damn thing. And what I'm doing is actually going to produce my own calendar this year. And even though I haven't got a big following on social media to be able to promote it on there, and the channel's not even monetized at the moment either, but I've got a big circle of friends, and I know a lot of other photographers and people in the area and family and everything else like that. I've ordered, my intentions is to make up 15. So it roughly cost me about £100 for A3 prints. And what I did, I got them to develop it. So even with them making the template for it, it still only cost about £120, which is really good as far as I'm concerned. And then I went the extra mile. I says to myself, I don't want them to staple it all together. I want to get one of these binding machines myself and develop the calendar and go through the whole process of it. You know, what's the point of giving the work to other people? I've got the time on my hands. I'm retired, so I've got that luxury. And what I'll do is make a video on that of showing how to be able to put the calendar together and showing you the photographs and everything, and the way that I've developed the calendar itself, which I told them. I went on to Canva and gave them a rough idea of the way that I wanted the layout of the calendar for each page and everything. The front cover I developed myself on Canva, and the rest I just left up to them. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that's going. But getting back to the story, I'm being waylaid here a little bit. This friend of mine says, it looks like you're really enjoying your photography. And he said, but you're also into social media, that you promote yourself on that. And I turned around and says to him, you know, this is just the modern age today, that we promote ourselves on YouTube and everything else like that, because we've got a tendency to go that extra mile. But I've always enjoyed photography when I've had time to do it. In my early days, I never had a lot of time to be able to do it. The first camera that I ever bought was in South Africa, and a friend of mine, his father passed away, and his mother was selling a lot of his things. And one of them was this big box of cameras with all different types of lenses. And I, at that stage, never even had a normal camera. I had a busy life. When you're younger, your life's dedicated to all different things. So anyway, I says to myself, definitely fancy one of these professional cameras. So I get it home, and there's not even any instructions with it. So those days you had to go to the library if you wanted information on anything, which is the same as social media. You just research in different areas. And then finally got to know how to be able to work the camera. And I'll never forget, in those days, friends of mine, when they were getting married, asked me, they turned around and said, oh, you do a bit of photography, Paul, would you mind doing the photos for the wedding? Which is a big responsibility, because I never ever did it as a profession. And I warned them, I says to them, you know, it's all right me taking the photographs and everything for you, but what happens if you don't like it? And anyway, the bottom line is, they used to say to me, oh, still come along. And I remember in those days taking one exposure that you thought was right, one underdeveloped, and the next one overdeveloped. So you've got 3 pictures for every single shot, and I had the viewing machine that used to be able to put the negative through to see which was the best shot. And then what I would do is developed what I thought was a good print for them. And I think in those days I used to get the photographs developed outside, but then I used to be able to buy the book and put the photographs and everything in for them, and then keep the loose photographs afterwards. So that was me first of all starting off with a camera. And many years later, once I was married and everything, I remember buying my first colour camera, and that was the Kodak Instamatic, and it was like a spy's camera. That was one of those that you pushed in the side and it went click click. So I always fancied that thing. I had that for many years, got some great photographs and everything from it. And then when I came back to the UK just before COVID and everything, doing quite a bit of traveling to all different countries and everything was new to me coming back to the UK. First time ever that I'd been to Europe. So I bought this Panasonic instant camera, and it was the first digital camera that I ever bought. And I was quite happy with the shots there. And then, because of the amount of traveling that I was actually doing, I decided to buy what I would consider my first step to a professional camera, which was the D4000. And most of my photography work in those days was either portraits, what had been there before in the past, or just landscapes. So I'll never forget going out to Costa Rica, and that was the first time ever that I got into bird photography. And I'll never forget sitting inside of this restaurant, and I was drinking a very sweet, I couldn't remember if it was an alcoholic drink or whether it was a refreshing drink with a little touch of something else in. But anyway, this thing was really sweet. And next thing you know, I've got the drink on the table, hummingbird comes down and starts drinking out of it. So I take the camera, take these photographs and everything, which I've still got today. And that was the beginning, I would say, of my wildlife photography. It just progressed and progressed. Realised that I was enjoying the photography, and then went to buy the Canon 90D, and then from the Canon 90D went to the R7, and then I've got a whole range of different lenses. So getting back to the initial question from this guy, do I do it because of social media? I'd say definitely not. Social media is something that's actually completely different. And there's a lot of competition out there in social media, but then again, there's a lot of people that will learn you your photography. A lot of them classify themselves as professional photographers. And I still try to get my head around, what is a professional photographer? To me, a professional photographer is somebody that's got a shop and they'll do portraits, and then they'll do weddings, and then they'll do birthday parties and go off and do that type of thing. And their living is that. Wherewith, say that you take a wildlife photographer, he's not doing it all the time, every single day. He might be doing talks, he might be doing stuff on social media, and you might be doing workshops, but it's not being in the field every single day with wildlife, in my opinion. So the jury's still out on that one of what a professional photographer is. I know for a fact I'm an amateur that really enjoys his photography. But the main thing is getting out into nature as well. I've come to the stage these days that I've got no expectations of when I go out to be able to see this bird, that bird, or the other bird, or this bit of wildlife and that bit of wildlife. It's sometimes just being out, and today I'm thoroughly enjoying it. The sun's out and it's just lovely. If I got some good shots of some birds and everything else like that, that would just be an added bonus. And I think if you haven't got any great expectations and you're just enjoying your photography, be satisfied with that. And then if you want to get adventurous and make your own calendar and then have your own YouTube channel, it's just extras of what you enjoy, and it's another branch that has actually gone out into your photography. But also it's a branch of something that you really enjoy, where you've gone back into nature and you're learning nature. And over the last 2 years since we've come out of COVID, I've learnt such an awful lot. I don't classify myself as a great bird watcher either, because I don't know all my subjects. I've got the books and everything. When I take a photograph of a bird, a lot of them I've got to go back to, and I realise there's plenty of lifers inside of there. And that's also exciting, is that when you're going out to different places, you're seeing different wildlife, and that's the exciting part about it. That is what's making me go out more every single time. So I'm going to leave it there, guys, at the moment, because otherwise I realised today I could go on and on. So hopefully I'll have a couple of photographs to be able to view at the end of this talk. Otherwise, I'll see you on the next adventure, which will be making the calendar. Otherwise, it'll be from what I'm doing on Sunday, going back to Finwick Hoe, going back with my Essex Birdwatching Society, because they've got a promotion there on Sunday, and also they've got guided walks and everything as well. So that is this Saturday. Today's the 5th, so we're looking at 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's the 10th that we're having the walk. So if anybody would like to come and join us, please do so, because this will be quick to be able to put onto social media. So hopefully I can promote the outing and everything Sunday as well. So I'll catch up with you the next time, guys. Really looking forward to it, and stay safe and enjoy nature.